Hi, I am interested in getting into gaming. My greatest fantasy, I suppose, is limitless consumption. Is there any video game you would recommend for someone like me? Next week we'll see the long-awaited release of Kirby and the Forgotten Land. A game that I think is well positioned to be Kirby's best-selling game ever in his 30-year history. And it turns out, that's actually not saying that much. Kirby almost never gets more than 5 mil in sales. He's in this weird spot in terms of Nintendo popularity. He sells way more than Star Fox, certainly. More than Pikmin even. But not close to Animal Crossing, not close to Mario. And so it's like, where does Kirby fit in? What's Kirby's value? Numerically. So I figured it'd be a good idea to bring back Franchise Score this week. This is, of course, the process by which we assign a score of 1 to 100 to an entire video game franchise. For Kirby, we're going to be looking at his strongest strength, his weakest weakness, and his inscrutable X factor. Strongest strength. Kirby is immortal. Now, canonically speaking, yes, Kirby does happen to be one of the strongest video game characters of all time, if we're measuring by power levels. But that's not what I'm talking about. I'm talking about how weird it was when I said Kirby is 30 years old. I mean, I would argue that if you're looking at all the video game characters who were making games in the early 90s, didn't stop making games until today, amongst all of them, no one has changed less than Kirby. In 1992, on the Game Boy, he was just white. And he couldn't steal powers yet. He could still eat people, but he couldn't steal their powers. But from Kirby's Adventure in 1993 onward, Kirby has just been this. A pink little dude. Jumping, flying, squeaking, sucking up powers, and using them for himself. From 3D to HD to today, Kirby the character has never underwent any major redesigns. Which is wild. And to this day, still has only spoken 2 words. Hi! And shit. And while never changing is usually a bad thing for anyone else, for Kirby, it is a benefit. It's a good thing. Because inhaling bad guys, taking their powers, and then using those powers against other bad guys is an innately good video game idea. That will always be a good idea for a video game. No iteration necessary. Kirby is a constant. Everything else changes around him. Weakest weakness, everybody besides Kirby. One thing that's been helpful for me when figuring out franchise scores is to make a list of how many icons a franchise has. And in the case of Kirby, it's just Kirby. Now. I know there's King Dedede. And yeah, I think Smash Bros. Raised his profile a bit, but if we're being honest, this guy is still small time. I don't quite get his deal. He doesn't state his objective as clearly as someone like Bowser does. Do you want to be friends? I mean, like, is he a penguin with hands? Was that what he is? Waddle Dee we could talk about. Waddle Dee is nice, but Waddle Dee, the character, is a Waddle Dee. The enemy. It's like Goomba. It's like saying Goomba is a good character. Yeah, Goombas are icons. You could put a Goomba on a shirt that says, not ready for a relationship. And yeah, that shirt will sell. People will buy that shirt, but it doesn't make Goombas a compelling character. Same with Waddle Dee. Everyone else, especially Meta Knight, is weak. This thing 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 is weak. This thing, icon. Wispy Woods is the closest thing Kirby has to a Joker. And now time for the inscrutable X factor, the Forgotten Land. So considering something's popularity, I feel like a question we have to ask is, when popular entertainment becomes popular, is that a reflection of culture? Is this us? Is this who we are? Unfortunately, I would like for you once more to consider Shrek. It's hard to remember this, but there was a time in which this ogre was hip. He was new and fresh and interesting and, dare I say, cool. Shrek came out in a time when a character who burped or picked his nose in a CG animated movie was unheard of. We were ready for that. He seemed anti-Disney, the embodiment of it. Shrek was authentic, Disney inauthentic. We were ready for this thing. This was us. Of course, Shrek became wildly popular on his own, and then that satire kind of got lost along the way. And at the same time Shrek was making movies about erasing his children, other CG movies, animated movies, were maturing past Shrek. Like today, Shrek and his dumb onion, they wish they had the depth of the girl from Turning Red. And so there's no space for Shrek anymore. He's got nothing left. Shrek exists off meme fumes. And memes don't make anybody any money. And believe me, I checked. So, Kirby. Kirby the Constant. What I think is interesting, about what is presented at least with Kirby and the Forgotten Land, is that it seems like for the first time in any of his games, the world presents an interesting juxtaposition for Kirby. Because in every single Kirby game, there's a new gimmick. Oh, the sword's big in this one. But generally, they all look the same. Even the robot one. And here, look at this sad, abandoned mall. Look at Kirby. Kirby's the same. So, Kirby isn't us. This is us. This is 2022. And this is what Kirby has to say about it. And while I don't necessarily like what Kirby has to say, I do think he's right. I think this is what we all need to hear right now. And now it's time to tabulate the franchise score. Keep in mind this will be on a scale of 1 to 100, 1 being something like Balan Wonderworld and 100 representing something like Big Butts. So considering Kirby's strongest strength, weakest weakness, and inscrutable X Factor, he receives a franchise score of 84. Wow. That might not sound like a lot. That's higher than Halo. Halo, which has a Paramount Plus series coming out soon. So, good for Kirby. Good for Kirby. Wish him all the best. That is delayed input for this week. I will be back next week, and I hope to see you then. Thanks for watching. I wanted to run something by you. In writing this week's episode, in being as honestly critical as I was of Shrek, I truly realized how little I care about Shrek. I truly realized, wait, so here's how this whole thing, if you just started like watching a couple episodes ago, if this is your first episode, Shrek's been present in almost every single episode of Delayed Input. I definitely forgot to mention Shrek sometimes. But basically what happened was, originally, I had a Shrek thing happen, and then the next episode I was like, look, I don't want to make Shrek jokes. This show is better than Shrek jokes. Then of course, the humor there comes from, this show isn't better than Shrek jokes. And then Shrek jokes permeated and became part of the show's identity. And I realized that, like, I'm sick of it. I'm actually, like, here's the thing. People will, like, tweet me Shrek shit. Like, in all fairness, they probably presume I like it. And the truth is, I don't like that. I did have a good time hiding Shreks in some episodes. Like, there's sometimes I'd see a comment that's like, no Shrek this episode. And I was like, yeah, there absolutely was a Shrek in that episode. So that part was fun. But, like, I kind of hate that it has to be Shrek. You know, Shrek is tired. It's time to put Shrek to bed. And so, in announcing that Shrek as a running joke will now be henceforth retired, I do acknowledge it needs a replacement. And I think the obvious natural replacement should be the honk. Now the honk is tricky because you can't like hide a honk. It's going to be audible to everybody. And also, it's actually like comedically tricky to do a honk. Previously, I was honestly going like frame by frame to try to figure out at which fraction of a second is the funniest spot to put a honk. There's I think humor science to it. I don't quite understand it. So please forgive me as I clumsily try to figure out how to make the honk work. But I wanted you to know on the inside track to not expect any more hidden Shreks, because I'm sick of Shrek. Thank you.